Hi, welcome to the award-winning Ed Brown Show. And hey, we have something real special. You know, this is Black History Month. The Maryland National Capital Park and Planning has come up with a terrific uh, program called We Return Fighting. And at the beginning of the show, you saw a young man with World War One uniform. Some of you out there probably don't know World War One. It looks like the Scouts. But anyway, what happened is the Black American. This is Black America History Month, and this is something that everybody should sit down and go and see or get some material at the Livingston Road facility of the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning. And this will be going on from the 28th of January to the 9th of March. And at that time, at the 25th of this month, what we're going to have, Major General Linda Zing, and she will be telling you all about the trials and tribulations of the African American soldier in World War One. Most of you figured World War One. Say, I don't know anything about it. At the beginning and end of the program, what they did, they had youngsters from the Livingston Road and other Prince George's County facilities in the history department to give some of their talent to a poster. And that poster with the young man looked like he's just been drafted. He has his rifle, he's ready, and it tells you about the program that went on in World War One. I mean, hey, don't touch that dial. You need to know something about World War One. And here's your opportunity to see the contributions that were made by the African American here in these United States. You know, you don't hear much about, you hear World War II, the ships and the planes and things, but the doughboys, they used to call them, the guys that hit the road jack. In other words, troops on the ground. They always talk about troops on the ground. There was quite a few African Americans that were on the ground in World War II. So this is your opportunity here in the African American month about African Americans' contribution to World War II. So a lot of people don't realize they did fight in World War II. I mean, you may think of the rockets and cell phones and things like that, but all of that wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't. So they had a big program coming up the 25th, 26th of this month by General Lang, and they had a contest and at the beginning of the program, and at the end of the program, you'll see the winners of the contest of this poster of this young African American that put his life on the line for this country. You don't hear, his name is not there, it's just the individual, and it's a symbol of the contribution of the African American to the development of this great country. So we commend the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning History Department for putting on the program, and we commend them as a young man there. We don't know who he is. He's unnamed, but he has the flying colors and he has the uniform, and he was overseas there protecting your rights, my rights, and the future of this country. So the 28th Livingston Road at 4 to 12 of January, and they will continue to March 9th. So it's no reason why you shouldn't take the time. Take the young kids out there. let them see positiveness of the African American in World War II. A lot of things I was surprised at, things that happened during World War II. Hey, I'm telling my age a little bit, but you know. But anyway, I remember my uncles. But all of them served in the. One was in the Navy, two in the Army. One was on a ship and Navy out there, and I think it was near Japan, and the others two were in Germany. But there is a terrific history of African American participating in the defense of the rights of this country. That's why it's very important that you yourself, you wouldn't be able to vote or do any of the things that you're enjoying now if it wasn't for young men like World War One youngsters that gave their lives, gave a lot of their careers and things of that nature for the benefit of this great country. So don't forget it, the 28th, 25th to the 28th, Livingston Road, History Department. And once again, we want to give Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, Prince George's County, the opportunity to the people in this area to really see the contribution of some of our older soldiers, some of our veterans, some of them in the hospital, some of them passed now, but they did the job to make it easy for you. And all you have to do is, hey, it's free. You don't have to pay for it. This is something that you can expose your youngsters to, that let them know, youngsters of all races, let them know of the contribution that the African American soldiers made in World War II. You know, where they had bayonets and, you know, boots on the ground. You know, the deal. The deal now is you have to get boots on the ground. You know, pretty soon it won't be no such thing as boots on the ground. They have robots on the ground instead of boots on the ground. But once again, the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission History Department has done a terrific job. They've involved the young people in this poster contest. And the results from the poster contest are right there at the beginning of the program, at the end of the program. And all of those that are interested in getting copies, hey, look, this is free. When the last time you had something free? Well, this is your opportunity to get an education and also get a souvenir of this project that the History Department of the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning has put out here, and it begins the 25th of January until March 9th, and I keep repeating it. It's going to be at the Livingston Road Complex, and they're going to have the general speaker will be General Linda Singh. So here's your opportunity. You're getting a young lady that's a general. Yeah, they didn't have many generals around here then, but she'll be able to give the youngsters of this era information about the contribution that were made by the African American during World War One, not two, but one, not Korea, none of those other wars. This was the First World War, and this information is in the National Museum, which is downtown, which you can take advantage of. But this is something special for the individuals in this area concerning the soldiers and from Prince George County that participated in World War One. And their theme was, "We Return Fighting." In other words, they were letting the world know that they made the sacrifice for the freedom that they deserve here in this country, and that they were returning to this country, and they wanted all the civil rights that all the other Americans took for granted, that some of the African American did not have an opportunity to take advantage or really get the freedom that they fought for in World War One. You know, people don't think in terms of that. World War One, what's that? You know, instead of World War Two, you know, and then the Korean War, Vietnam. Everywhere you go, there was someone fighting in the world, and the African American, he stood his ground through thick and thin, through the problems that he endured at home, not being accepted as a #1 citizen, but he gave his life, and what he did, he prepared outstanding young men to help make this country what it is today, and it's better. They envisioned the point that the African Americans have been a terrific part of this development, and they work together with everyone for President Obama, and they are continually working for the present administration to make this country one of the great countries and continue to be that way. But you know, the major thing I'm getting into the second part of my show now. I'm getting into that voting. You know, this is a good thing, you know, for the young people to realize they take voting for granted. You know, voting is not something that's, you know, handed to you. You can use it if you like, because what it does, it prepares you for the future. And your participation in this government is very critical. And most of you talk about, say, hey, you say, oh, what can I do? You know, I'm just a little guy. Yeah, the major thing that you do is get involved in the development of your country by voting. Right now, it's about 50% of American people don't like the leadership. And why? It's because over 50% of them decided not to go to the poll. They found something more important, very important to them, other than voting, to sacrifice and prepare their grandchildren and their great-grandchildren for this country, continuation as one of the #1 countries. And in order to do that, you have to participate in your civic duty. You can't sit at home and complain. Anytime there's a vote, you should be out there. And the parents and the grandparents, you want to pass something on. We always talk about passing something on to the kids, and most of the time we talk about material things, you know, dollars, you know, pass on inheritance to them, pass on being involved in the local government, starting with the civic association, starting with the various political organizations, starting with your given time. Because all of these things that you find, the ups and downs, the migrants and the people that came over before, and well, all of those things, they are decided by politicians. And how do the politicians get involved? They get involved when they feel that they want something changed. And if you like everything like it is, you think that everything in America is perfect, hey, just sit at home and complain. And I'm sure sooner or later you'll find out that it doesn't work. You have to get involved. So, like I said earlier, once again, hats off to Maryland National Capital Park and Planning, uh, Black History Program. And it's going to be held again, like I said, it's going to be held in Livingston Center, and it's going to be the 25th to the 28th of March 9th. So if you're really interested in it, call 301-203-6040. And I mean, you probably didn't have time to write that down, but you call the Livingston Center, and they will give you information about the We Return Fighting, and that's all about the annual Black History Month exhibit sponsored by the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Black History Program. And once hats off to the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning for putting this information out, because a lot of students don't understand that everyone in America has participated in its development in some way, in the history, ancestry of everyone that's involved here. And these are things you gotta start really thinking about, and don't take that vote for granted. You know, you say, well, I'll go down and get a pizza and a Pepsi. I don't have too much line there, making excuses not to participate, because participation is your representation as far as democracy is concerned. There's no democracy if you're not participating. If you're going to just sit back and let John Jones do what he likes, then sure, you're going to have a dictatorship. And it's been shown throughout the world, not just in America, but all over the world, that participation in government is critical to the development of your organization, of your religion, of your race. You have to participate. I mean, it's easy to complain, and hey, most of us, you know, we don't have any problems, you know, complaining. But when it comes time to give up time, and many Americans has given the time of all races and religion to this country, that's why it's like it is. I was riding down the highway the other day, and some visitors were saying they were amazed at the different style of homes and neighborhoods and religions and everything they were represented right here in Prince George County and Maryland and Virginia. Because these freedoms we take for granted. You know, if you want to go out and put a house, we have rules and regulations, but you want the house to reflect your religion, or the house to reflect your ideas, you know, you have an opportunity here. But the only way that you're going to continue to have that opportunity, you got to get out and vote. How many times have people won elections in America that no one gave them a chance? So are they not, hey, well, excuse me, I think we have right now that's going on. No one gave the present president a chance to win it, but he won. Why? Because he was able to utilize the system. He studied the system, he found the weaknesses, and he used it. And whether you like it or not, he was successful. He is the president of the United States. And all of those people that didn't participate in the political system just went out and complained and criticized. They're still complaining and criticizing because they didn't show any action. When I say action, participation. And the only way that you're going to continue to have participation in America is you got to educate the youngsters that how the system works, what do you have to do to get things done. Okay? All right, you heard it. So once again, Maryland National Capital Park and Planning, hats off for the program that you're presenting on the African American soldier in World War I. Most of the time, you never, you're lucky to hear anything about the World War II and Vietnam and things like that. But this pageant, and the most important thing that the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission did was involve the young people. I like to commend them for involving the young people in the poster contest and setting this total thing up, because it gave them some idea other than what the textbooks say. You know, you mean I have to read all of that to find out about this? But the history department of the agency has done a terrific job in getting information out. They brought speakers in. They've got the young people, which I just love, involved in the poster contest. And just like I said, take time and look at the poster. They got some information from the Library of Congress. They got some other information. And they came up with this young man, African American, that had on this World War I. I haven't seen no. Have any of you seen World War I uniform lately? I haven't seen one. You know what they call those, the pants and the knickers, or something like that. That's when they were popular, you know. And soldiers actually wore them during World War I. I don't recall any of my relatives having, the last time I recall something of that nature was the war between states, where the uniforms were complete, the North and the South. That's the thing that stuck with me. But anyway, don't forget, this is a great opportunity for the young people to really get some information about the contributions of the African American soldier in World War I. It's a rarity. Some of you need to go out and take a look at it and realize what your forefathers was trying to do for the freedom that you have now and your right to vote now. Anything worthwhile, there's a sacrifice. Remember this. This has been Ed Brown, and so don't forget, 25th to the 28th, Livingston Road Complex, World War II, World War I contribution of the African American soldiers. A terrific display. It took a lot of time for the agency to get all of this material together. Okay, all right, now, hey, the last thing on voting, your governor in Maryland will be running for office again. So this is another opportunity for you and the youngsters to be part of the participating government. Because if you're not part of the participating governor, you're going to be a victim of it. Now, which one you choose between a victim or being part of something? I think I'd rather be part of something than a victim of something. So, I mean, you can pass that on to your youngsters and tell them to really get involved. And I like to move on to a subject that we've talked about a long time around, and that's the educational system in Prince George County. Here, Duval, they had problems with the graduation rate. At first, it was at 90% graduated, and then they dropped down to 59 because there was something wrong with the system. The system which the federal government did their job by providing money for the Head Start program, so the kids would have a decent score in competition out there for jobs. You heard about Amazon is getting ready to move 50,000 jobs somewhere around here in the United States, and Montgomery County and Virginia seems to be two of the few sites in which they're considering. But the idea is that we in Prince George County and this metropolitan area, we got to get our educational system in the right frame of mind so that the youngsters can be competitive. I think that the government, the Maryland government, has made attempts. They've investigated the local Prince George County Board of Education, found that they did not do some of the things properly for the Head Start program, and they lost the program, $6.9 million, which program was beautiful. It worked well, and for 20 years it worked well. So it's not the money. It seems that it was the administration that dropped the ball on the education as far as Prince George County is concerned. And it dropped the ball to the point that the governor had an investigation in Prince George County educational system, their competitiveness and on the different tests, and they found there were problems involved. But the governor, I have to hats off to the Governor Hogan. He still sent funds in to replace the Head Start program in Prince George County. This has been Ed Brown. See you next time.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. Gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Okay, quick. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah. We're getting so wet. Green hat, red hat, oops. Red shirt, blue shirt, yellow shirt, oops. Yellow pants, red pants, green pants, oops.